In the past 10 years, I've learned more about dating than most guys will in an entire lifetime. That's why in this video, I'm gonna break down my most impactful dating concepts that I've learned throughout this whole entire decade. That way you don't make the same mistakes that I personally make. Stay tuned, subscribe, let's go ahead and get right into it. So what really got me in the dating game was trying to understand, why did some guys get results with women, but other guys didn't? That led me down a discovery, reading books, going out on dating apps, going on more dates, trying to understand what women were really attracted to and how that process even started from the beginning. And here's what I've noticed. Everything follows a formula. I'm a pretty logical person. You know, I majored in computer science. I'm very good at math, and just 1 + 1 = 2 to me. And so through that, I found an equation that worked for dating in a similar fashion. And here exactly what that equation was. First off, everything starts with a connection. Connection is how you meet the woman. Now, the connection will be in line based on your personal dating strategy. Now, online dating was a strategy for me that has worked the best and gave me the most leverage. Up next, it was attraction. Obviously, the woman has to be attracted to you and you have to be attracted to her. But what made women attracted to men? It was a combination of factors, some of which I discuss on this channel quite often, but it really depends on the physical or the medium that you're meeting the woman in. For example, online dating, attraction is going to be more physical and more about what you can show through an online image. If you met a woman through cold approach, it might be a combination of your image and confidence. If you meet a woman at an event, it might be a combination of your status or leadership and also who you know. So it really depends on the context, but point is there must be attraction there. Then also the next layer is comfort. You must get the woman comfortable with you. You must build rapport and she must feel safe with you. And E stands for escalation, which is a private environment, be it your place, be it a date, whatever it may be. So that was the first thing I really had to learn, and that equation pretty much set the foundation to how I see dating overall, because it really broke down what I needed to do in order to attract the girl of my dreams, quote unquote, or even just get more dates in general. I wanted a systematic process that can personally help me. Now, up next, I realized that keeping a woman is a different game than simply attracting a woman. And this goes back into another point of the whole front end, middle end, back end game. All that really means is just a strategy or a game plan leading to the desired result. Now, after that, the next game plan would be, how can I get her to go out on a few dates with me and maybe lead that to a sexual encounter? Then after that, the game would be, after I have slept with this woman, how do I retain and keep her in my life? And so there's different levels to the game, and each guy struggles with different parts. For a lot of guys, it's usually going to be an attraction, but after you master that, you'll start to realize that, hey, you know, I do want to keep the woman in my life too. But when it comes to the game plan of retaining a woman, it actually really starts at the front. So what I actually realized is that how you start is how you finish. And if you have a strong front end, you don't have to have that strong of a back end. Now, let me explain. Basically, what I'm saying is that if you make it easy for a woman to come in your life, you'll also make it easy for her to leave your life. So how do we fix this? I fix this through discovering a process that I like to call my dating funnel. Now, a dating funnel, very similar to sales, like a sales funnel. Basically, at the top, you have a lot of leads, a lot of women who might be interested in our product. In a dating perspective, that product is us. But at the end of the funnel, we have the women who we actually keep within our lives. Maybe these women are women we see long-term, we keep around as girlfriends, main girls, whatever it may be. But there's qualifications and filters that they need to have in place in order to get to that end game. What do most guys do? They allow women to come in at the top, and then they just try to keep whatever they can get because they're in scarcity. So a lot of this too isn't only about just attracting a lot of women, but also having more so that abundance mindset. That way we also keep the right women within our lives. So what I'm saying is that you need to have filters and boundaries in place on the front end. That way, if she doesn't pass these filters, she can't make it to the long term or the back end game with you. And that's because, once again, how you start at the front is how you finish at the end. So the reason why I've realized that, you know, it's really not that hard for me to maintain and keep a woman in my life is because in order for her to even get to that point, she had to jump through so many hoops. If I had to double message her, I'm not talking to you again. If you flake with me one time, I'm not talking to you again. After sex, you make me pursue you, I'm not talking to you again. If you don't follow up after the first date, I'm not talking to you again. So the fact that I have all these filters and boundaries in place, inevitably by the end of it, the women who I keep in my life long term are already primed and adjusted to everything I want in them because I had such a strong front end. And the guys who are struggling with keeping women in their lives or having that strong back end, I can almost assure you and tell you that they got those women by the skin of their teeth. They attracted those women based on principles that weren't in line with the theory of genuine desire. And we'll talk about that too. Basically, genuine desire is the idea that a woman from an attraction standpoint views you as an A+. And all relationships thrive and last long term due to the basis of genuine desire, particularly from the woman. Now, just to further explain this concept, I'll talk about something else. And this is an analogy I love to use when it comes to dating, is that you gotta reframe your mindset into thinking that dating is you chasing, hunting down, that sort of hunter mentality, going after what you want, getting what you get, chasing after that woman who maybe isn't showing you attention. That's not the way dating works. And the reason why is because that does not ensue genuine desire. You're catching something that actually didn't want you in the first place, and you're convincing them to like you. I'm not saying it's impossible, but looking back on my dating experience, I framed it to where I had a woman coming after me, chasing me, pursuing me, and the woman who I really didn't like that much, but they were very persistent in trying to get my attention. I effectively ended up giving them a chance at the expense of my respect towards them. So yeah, through their persistence, I ended up giving them a chance, whatever. I might have let them do some things to me, is what it is, but I had no respect for them. And a lot of guys aren't realizing that genuine desire doesn't only help the relationship start off in the best way, but it also ensures that there's respect at the start. So once again, dating is like fishing, not hunting. What I mean is that you get the attractive bait to cast and get the fish that you want. That attractive bait is you. But first you gotta think about, what type of fish do you want? Do you want small fish? Do you want a big bass? Do you want to catch sharks? Do you want to catch whales even? Like, how big of a fish do you want? And what bait is needed in order to catch that fish? That bait, once again, is you. And so the idea is that you make yourself into the attractive bait, you cast your net out there, and then you catch whatever bites. That's what dating is. Dating is not grabbing your rifle and bow and arrow, then running miles trying to chase after something that you may or may not get. That's how you get exhausted. That's how you get frustrated. You don't want to do that. And when you go about it in the way of fishing, you actually attract genuine desire. Now, genuine desire, some might say that is purely just physical. I don't always agree with that. I believe if you're meeting a woman on a dating app or initially, whatever context usually is based on physical attraction, but after that, it's a combination of physical plus internal aspects, so personality. I've seen countless of times where the guy thought he was hot shit because he's attractive, I'm getting all these women, but looking back, you can't keep none of them. You smash them one time and that's it, it's wraps. And that's because genuine desire wasn't there after they actually met you, after you open your mouth. And that's why still to this day, handsome men struggle with women, not only because of confidence issues, but because they lack social skills. They lack the ability to socially connect, to emotionally connect with them. Their personality is off. And for that reason, yeah, you're good to look at, but besides that, what do you have to you? We're the same exact way with women. We see a hot girl, nice body, nice assets, but if she's just hot, she brings no value to our lives, she doesn't want to make our lives easier, then we're not going to keep her around for long. Or if we do keep her around for long, guess what? It's just going to be within these four walls. That's it. Now, there are different phases to the dating game depending on where you're at. You might be a guy who's into casual dating. You might be a guy who's actively trying to find a girlfriend. You might be a guy who's just pumping and dumping, whatever it may be. We all go through our phases, right? But you also have to remember that women go through their phases too. So two things. Women will always have a past that they'll not want you to know and try to sell purity to you, because if you knew their past and what they did in the past, you will immediately disqualify them. So having this realization that women are in fact sexual creatures and do in fact aren't these angel Mary versions that they try to describe them to you. And if you know that, you'll tend to go through dating in a more non-biased way. Now, not only that, but you must remember that women will always want relationships no matter what phase they're in. It doesn't matter if they just got a train ran on them by 3 dudes. If they come across a guy that they like, where they're highly attracted to, and that guy has a degree of compatibility or safety or comfort tied to his personal characteristics, she's gonna wanna lock that guy down. Don't ever let a woman fool you and tell you that they don't actually want relationships. Every single woman wants relationships. And you might find this especially to be true whenever you're having a rotation of women where you're casually dating. The reason why rotations never last long term is because the woman will always expect you to progress the relationship further due to feelings getting involved. Their emotions will always overtake their logic, even if that logic says, I don't want a boyfriend right now. Even if that logic says, this guy probably isn't the guy who I would want as a boyfriend. If you spend enough time with them, that emotion through them and that sense of familiarity and comfort and time spent together will tell her that, hey, I actually want a boyfriend, or actually, I'm kind of changing my mind about this hookup culture thing. Hookup culture for women is not sustainable whatsoever, even if they have a horrible past. They might go back to it because you can't necessarily change a woman. She is who she is. And so if she's naturally promiscuous, if she naturally enjoys sex more, she might find herself going back to that promiscuous nature, but it's never sustainable for a long period of time. That is why you'll see women, especially when they're ages 27 to around 30, they start to switch their dating strategy to that of looking more for who provides more comfort and security versus the bad boy, versus the guy who sparks purely just high attraction and unpredictability. The reason is, once again, it's not sustainable for them. They know that they're on a biological clock. They know they don't have a lot of time to sort of make the choice, especially if they want kids. And most of them do want kids, even if they're younger and they say that they don't. Whenever they're older, they'll find themselves like, hey, I actually do want kids. I do want a relationship. Hookup culture is never sustainable. And guys, I want to leave you with this, and that is, remember that the game never ends. I talked about how your front end creates a strong back end, but that doesn't mean that there's no back end. It just creates a stronger back end. And game equals basically the maintenance of the relationship dynamic. And when you understand optimal relationship dynamics, the masculine, feminine, her chasing your validation and attention, having that competition anxiety just a little bit, her seeing that other women also find you attractive, you not getting comfortable and complacent of where you're at, you always still trying to improve your sexual market value, be it your money, your status, or your looks. When you understand that and how through making yourself better and not getting stale in the dynamic will actually make her want to crave you more, you'll realize that the game also never ends too. It doesn't matter if you've been with a woman for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it literally doesn't matter. So never get comfortable, always have your head on straight, and then also don't allow your woman to get comfortable either. That's how you keep the relationship dynamic long term. And those were some of the most impactful things I learned over the course of a decade when it comes to front end attraction all the way to keeping a woman in your life long term. Now guys, I have mastered this dating game. I learned exactly what women respond to, what they're attracted to, and how to really present yourself in the top 1% way. That way, you have no shadow of a doubt that you could replace the woman who you're with or attract a woman of your dreams. It doesn't matter. I've done it for hundreds of guys, and now I want to do it for you. So if you are struggling with maybe your personal image, attracting women through the use of online dating apps, increasing your social media presence, but also even the back end, retaining women, maybe you're finding that after date one, it sort of fizzles out, or maybe you can't even set a date, then I encourage you to work with me one-on-one to apply all these concepts personally. To apply, I'm gonna leave a link down below this video, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.